guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you could find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. I am here to talk about knitting and crochet and fiber art. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please stick around. I would love to have you. So I have a little bit to show you today. I have been working on color work. I have been playing around with a circular knitting machine, and I cast on a cardigan for my daughter. You guys have already seen it, but it is flying by, seriously. I am not used to using like Aran weight yarn. If you're new here, I generally stick to thinner weight yarn. Fingering weight is my happy spot. So casting on this Aran weight sweater is like totally bizarre how fast it goes. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. First, let's talk about admin. So I give away a digital pattern prize, and I give one away every episode. So all you have to do to enter is just leave a comment down below. That's it. Come back the next week and see if you've won. And I release a podcast episode every Tuesday, and that means I film on Saturdays. So I leave a blank spot, and I'm going to leave one right here. And if that was you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. So, as I was saying, I leave a spot, and then when I'm editing on Sunday, I go to a YouTube random comment picker, put in the video link, click the button, and it gives me a winner. So, that's all you have to do. Leave a comment down below and come back the next week to see if you won. So, the rules, there are only two. The rules to the pattern giveaway is that the pattern prize must be 15 USD or under, and you can only win once a month. That's it. So, okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some things, because I found a really cool fundraiser through my email, and I thought I would share it with you guys. So I'm going to talk about this first, and then later when I talk about patterns, I'll talk about the patterns associated with this fundraiser. So I have recently purchased from Purl's yarn store, and they sent a message through their newsletter, and it was about a knit along with Ann Budd, and she's doing something called the Longest Day 2025. So basically what it is I'm going to actually read because I printed out the information. So it says, join us Sunday, June 29th via Zoom for the Longest Day Ever event, an annual gathering dedicated to raising awareness and funds for the Alzheimer's Association. On this day, volunteers spend the daylight hours doing something they love while raising awareness to help find a cure for this life-altering disease. We're thrilled to be part of this fun event where several yarn shops join Ann Budd on Zoom to cheer her on as she knits from sunup to sundown while sharing her expertise and passion for fiber arts. Whether you're a seasoned knitter or just getting started, this event is a chance to knit together for a cause, connect with fellow fiber enthusiasts, and support a vital mission. And then there are links below. So I'm going to put up a QR code, and that QR code will take you to this website where you can read about it. I thought that was really cool. It's a free Zoom, and they're raising awareness for the Alzheimer's Association. So I wanted to share that, and then later on when I talk about patterns, I will talk about the two patterns that are actually associated with that knit along. And if you purchase the pattern, a portion of the pattern is donated to the cause. So, okay, let's get started with knitting and fiber and all that stuff. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, because I kind of still like to gloss over the machine knitting I'm doing and just kind of show you the finished projects and show you kind of the yarn that I used. The first thing I'm going to show you is some machine knit cowls I made. So this is made from Hobbie's Sunbird yarn. Now, they renamed this yarn, right? It was, when I bought it, called Butterfly. And I really love how it kind of transitions. So this is a cowl. I made 8 of these this week. And so easy to make. I mean, if you've ever used a circular knitting machine, you don't need a pattern for this. You are basically just starting and stopping and 3 needle bind offing. And I'm trying to show you the 4 different colors that I ended up with because that's how it kind of worked out. I had 2 skeins that were the same. There were 2 that were kind of like the pink colors, and then 2 that were the green colors. So this is a green color, and I love these, right? They're so comfy. And I figure I'm gonna just toss them in the washer and the dryer because they're 100% acrylic. Now, if it were my choice and I had made these for me, I would be wearing it like this because I love the big loopy cowls. That's my favorite way to wear them. But I digress because I am going to give a couple of these away, and I am also going to see if the charity that I donate the hats to also has a use for cowls. Like I said, 100% acrylic, and they're just all joined together, and this one has a twist. Did I twist it on accident? No, it's a circle. There we go. So there's this one, and this is nice and green, and we've got like the light green. This chair is squeaky today. It's gonna drive me nuts. There we go. And I think that's all the colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Those are all of the combination of colors. So I have 1 more of each one of the yarns that the cowls that I showed you. So 8 in total. And I thought that was a lot of fun to do. Why? Because I would cast on, and then I could just, wind and not really pay attention. So the butterfly Sunbird, the butterfly / Sunbird yarn would give me 2 cowls from each, and they were about 200 stitches each. So that's a pretty good length. I could have also gotten just a long scarf out of it or what have you, but I really like the idea of the cowls, and I loved it because they were like the color block. I really appreciated that. But anyways, the Sunbird yarn, I liked it and I still like it, but oh goodness, be very careful using that yarn, you guys, because it comes in like this big ball and it really likes to fall apart and get all crumpled. If you've ever used Red Heart Unforgettable, when you pull 2 strands of that yarn together, they rub and they start kind of getting stuck to each other, like grabby. And it gets really hard to pull them apart, and then you end up with knots. So if this yarn happens to kind of fall in on itself, be very careful. Don't just like try to pull it out and keep pulling like you could for a different yarn that wasn't so grabby. This one, you definitely kind of, if it does that, you want to start from the opposite end of the opposite end of the yarn you're pulling and start wrapping it in a ball on the other way. Trust me on this, because otherwise you're going to spend like 3 hours trying to unknot a big mess. So, other than that, I love the yarn, and it's super soft, guys. I mean really, really soft. they said on their website, because I was reading about it, the reason I was reading about it is because I was trying to get the links ready for the podcast, and I looked at the Ravelry page for butterfly, and at the bottom it said, butterfly yarn is now renamed as Sunbird. And I'm like, that's weird because I haven't heard of it. I guess I'm out of the loop, but it's so soft and I do like it. I do like the yarn. You just have to be mindful that it's one of the yarns that has it's very easy to get it kind of stuck together. Okay, now I have been working on color work, and guys, this one's a bear, and I'm going to tell you about why. Because I have sorry, I'm trying to untangle that part. I have 200-ish plus stitches on this needle, and oh my gosh, the rows take forever. So it's gonna seem like I haven't gotten a lot done, but I assure you I have. So this is the Shetland Skies, and I am just now starting, and you can see it right there. There's this little start to the second motif. This star snowflake, starflake as somebody said in the comments, and I love that. The starflake is repeated 3 times. So this is the first time. I started on the second time, and then I'll have a third time, and then the poncho is done. And I love the way that it's coming out, and I love the fact that I did incorporate the different colored yarn, and the pattern, it doesn't do that, and I know I've put up some pictures. The pattern does more of kind of a rainbow effect. So every couple of rows, they change the color that they're knitting the contrast in. So you're always knitting 2 colors per row, which is fine, but I kind of wanted to see how it looked this way. I mean, in the end, the reason that I'm knitting this is because A, I would love a poncho, and B, I want to practice color work. So this is gonna do it, and I'm hoping that I can kind of carry on and hopefully start picking up some steam on it. But like I said, there's 200 plus stitches. I know it's over 200, but I kind of glossed over how many stitches it actually was. So that's why I keep saying 200 plus, because I know that the higher that number is, the less excited, yes, excited is a good word, excited I am to kind of work through it. So I'm just trying to gloss over it, you know. I noticed that, especially whenever I did that I-cord bind off with the Vertices Unite, I noticed that I did not want to know how many stitches I picked up to do that. Not even, nope. I'm glad he didn't put it in the pattern, because I used my knitting machine a lot that week as opposed to working on that project, because I knew that, well, I thought it was going to take a very long time. By the way, it wasn't that bad. I'm hoping this turns out to be the same way. I love the way that it's looking, and I do love the color work. This yarn is a fingering weight yarn. It comes in big cones, whole skein, and it's tides. This color is cream. It's 70% wool and 30% silk. If you've watched me previously, this is what I knit that wildflower pullover out of, and that's a pattern by Andrea Gaughan, and I test knit that one. I figured, since I have, obviously, look at how much I have here. Since I have so much of this, I could make another color work pattern out of it. So I picked this one, and I'm gonna be excited when I get to it. This is a non-superwash yarn, so I am not taking very much care with my floats. I will be taking more care with my floats I would be taking more care with my floats if I was using a non-superwash yarn. But I figure with this one, I'm not as concerned about it. I'm happy with my progress. I know that I should be spending more thoughts on it, but it is what it is, guys. Okay. Like I said, I have cast on this Montrose cardigan for my daughter, and I am using Plymouth Encore. And this is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I'm almost positive. If it's not, I have already put up the yarn information and you guys can see it and hopefully ignore if I'm saying the wrong words. So this is what the pattern looks like, and I think that this cardigan is adorable. I am knitting it in basically what amounts to my daughter's favorite color, which is light pink. So she's excited about it. But this yarn, it's like a worsted Aran weight yarn, and it knits up so fast. Look at how much I have done here. I have joined the body under the arms. So and then last week I just had a little bit of the back, but these fronts, they did not take like any amount of time. It was just incredible. It's kind of in an awkward spot. Maybe I can borrow this from her. I don't know. It's very oversized, the cardigan is, so maybe. That is if she lets me borrow it. It's funny because she will go pick out things from my cabinet of sweaters that she likes to wear. She really likes the Hito Fude and some other ones. Anything pink that I have, basically, she likes to borrow. She is 10 years old. And it's ridiculously oversized on her, but that's okay because a lot of the times the patterns that I pick are meant to be oversized. So this has been going great. I'm excited about knitting it, and I should really be working on color work instead of this. But that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys for today, at least my progress on knitting. We're going to talk about a couple of things because I have a friend named Barbara, and hi Barbara if you're watching. She actually reached out to me and she's like, you should give away your Vertices Unite on your podcast for a number of for 500 subscribers, and you could kind of use it as a giveaway. And I wanted to ask, would you guys be interested in that? It wouldn't be the only prize. I feel like I have a couple of things that I'd like to give away. I have that knitting needle set that I got from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and I had recently shown it and said that if I wasn't into the needle set, that I would use it as a giveaway. Well, it's not that I'm not interested in the needle set, it's that I have my Chiagu needles and I love those. So I would also give those away, and yarn. There's always going to be yarn. So let me know if you guys think a 500 subscriber giveaway would be fun. That was something that she had brought up to me, and I thought that would be kind of cool. So, okay. I have some patterns, and I thought that they would be really fun to talk about. Okay guys, the first pattern I am going to talk about is the Fading Memories cowl. And this is one of the patterns associated with the Longest Day knit along that Ann Budd is doing that I talked about earlier in the podcast. So this is the cowl, and it is knit in fingering weight yarn, and it uses a blue to gray gradient. Now, let's see, this is designed by Ann Budd, and like I said, she's the one doing the zoom. It says this tapered cowl was designed for the 2025 Longest Day campaign sponsored by Alzheimer's Association, an annual fundraiser that takes place in conjunction with the summer solstice. For every pattern sold during the 2025 campaign, ending August 31st, 2025, $5 will be donated to Alzheimer's and other dementia research. The stitch pattern consists of expanding cables separated by eyelet lace that, to me, represents the convoluted memories and lost awareness experienced by the victims. I chose a teal to gray gradient that represents how those afflicted with dementia become ghosts of their formerly vibrant selves. So I really love the idea of spreading awareness, and you guys know me. You know that I love to mention especially different fundraisers that encompass health issues. I have a variety of health issues. If you guys are new here, I have incomplete paralysis. So that means that I use a wheelchair full time now. I went from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair. It was a very slow process, but I do love to spread awareness for different health issues. So when I saw this in my email, I was like, oh, okay, I definitely want to mention that. So this is the crochet version, and this is the pattern designer for this is Dianna Judge, and it's fingering weight yarn as well, and it is also that lovely blue to gray gradient. So it says, join the fight against Alzheimer's disease. This top-down tapered cowl was designed as a crochet counterpart to knit designer Ann Budd's Fading Memories Cowl 2025. As part of the Alzheimer's Association Longest Day campaign, Ann knits while raising funds and awareness to help fight this terrible disease. Both the knit and crochet versions of this cowl were designed to represent the continued memory loss that afflicts people with this disease. $5 of each pattern sold during the campaign will be donated to directly to alz.org under Ann Budd's fundraiser. This year, let's stitch together to help those and other families suffering from Alzheimer's and other dementia. So, it's a very pretty crochet cowl, and I thought that the idea was really cool. The yarn that Dianna Judge used to crochet the sample was one cake of Alexandra the Art of Yarn and Fading Memories fingering weight. So very cool that the yarn was named after that as well. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that at least a couple of people find it interesting. Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia affect like everybody in one way or another. Even if we might not know somebody personally, we definitely know of other people that have issues, and it's just kind of good to come together as a community to help support them. So I ran across this one and I thought it was so good. You guys know that I love colorwork hats, right? And I love colorwork hats with special crowns. And do you see that crown right there? I love it. So this is called Spendigo 2025. It's by Sandra Levey, and the pattern price is free. So that made me happy because I love to share free patterns as well as patterns that cost. But this looks like a really pretty free pattern. It says, this is a 2-color stranded project knit in the round with the pattern worked all the way to the top. The pattern assumes your knowledge of this technique. The stranded work is charted only, but written directions and chart will show which colors to use during the decreases. So that's nice. So the chart will, the stranded work is charted only, but you have written directions for the crown decreases, which I get. It's a free pattern, and it's very useful to have it written for the crown and charted for the crown. So it's used with words. Okay, the crown or not the crown, what am I talking about? I don't know. It's been a long day. Well, you guys won't see this till Tuesday. So happy Tuesday, guys. It's Saturday here. The birds are outside singing and it's wonderful and sunny and it's great. But it's been a long day. I've been studying and I wanted to film this podcast, so here we are. The hat uses worsted weight yarn. The gauge is 21 stitches and 24 rows. You use basically a standard needle size for worsted. 4 and 4.5 millimeters. You use around, less than 200 yards, but I love graphic colored color work charts like that. So whenever I saw that, I thought that I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, I brought back 2 patterns, and I didn't bring them back. I grabbed them out of kind of my archive of previous pattern prize picks. So here's the first one. This is Fading Point by Hobbii Locatelli. And you guys know that I love Hobbii's sweater, her garment patterns. I've actually never knit a shawl by her, but this one is gorgeous. So this is going to be a fingering weight shawl. And let's see, it's the gauge is 22 stitches and 22 rows equal 4 inches in garter stitch. It says, last year I designed a pattern called Starting Point, and it was a mystery knit along. I love that pattern so much, and it was truly nerve-wracking to present it as a mystery. Would people like a big rectangle wrap as much as I did? Fortunately, I think many did, which encouraged me to keep exploring that construction, and also gave me the confidence to design more maxi scarves and wraps. And when Dianna me created these colors for me to design with, all I could picture was this wrap. I just knew it, and the moment I saw it, I knew what it had to become. Fading Point is constructed from both ends toward the center, and then both pieces are connected with triangles to achieve a seamless rectangle. This pattern is completely different than its predecessor. It has sections where you blend 2 colors together and then sections with lace. The instructions are written and charted. So if you've never heard of Fading Point, you might want to check that out. I know that a lot of her patterns are very popular. I've actually never heard of Starting Point, or I probably have, but I don't think I remember it. Oh, and this is the second one. So this is called Chasing Dawn, and this is by Alina Appasova, and I love this. Both of the ones that I picked to show you guys were these larger rectangle wrap scarves, and I have actually knit a pattern from her before, and I cannot remember what it's called. Oh no. It was last year. I'll put the name down below. I loved it though, so I can only imagine that I would love this one as well. I love the colors and like the huge contrast between each color, and whenever I knit the scarf shawl that I made her from her last time, I definitely, it's Prismarine. It's right at the bottom. See, Ravelry's being very helpful by showing me other patterns from this designer, and it came right up. But I wonder, let's read about this one. It's fingering weight yarn. The gauge is 25 stitches and 48 rows is 4 inches. And you need between 400 and 2,400 yards of yarn. And the reason why you have such a range is because it comes in different sizes. Extra small to extra length. And you can basically you can customize it. It says length, custom sample, medium, 78 inches by 15 inches. So it says, Chasing Dawn Wrap is a new knitting adventure with mini skeins. You can use any number of colors. The sample shown uses 1 full skein of main color and 12 mini skeins for the contrasting color. The wrap is rectangle shape and knitted from one end to another. The pattern can be worked from written instructions or charts. Only one color is worked at a time and no complicated stitches. Oh, it's mosaic. Okay, that's why I was reading, because well, what I was gonna say is I wonder if this is mosaic, because Prismarine was also mosaic. So yes, the answer is yes. And you know what? This would be a lot of fun to use an advent on. I should really think about that, because I have an advent and some mini skeins that I have not found a use for yet, and they're special. I have the advent from Mouse Witch Yarns the last Christmas, and I'm trying to find something special that I want to knit with them. And I would see, that's the hard part. I've already made Radvent, so, well, I guess I could make it again. And I'm just not sure if I would use a wrap like this, but I would love knitting it. Does that make sense? Maybe this is another one I could find to give away. I guess we'll have to see. I do love like making the wraps. I don't know. Well, to be determined. Okay, now I found this pattern, and this pattern came up when I was looking at, you go to the pattern page, and down at the bottom, on the bottom right, there's this spot where it's like a popular patterns that we recommend for you. I cannot remember the words that they used to describe it, but this one came up, and it's called Little Garter Baby Set. And I thought that this one was really cute. This is from Purl, Soho. And I was looking at this hat, and last night as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I really want to make our cat a hat like that. And my husband just started laughing at me. I am just being silly. I am not going to give our cat a hat like that to wear. He would not appreciate it, so I would not do it. However, if he liked it, I would totally make him one, but I just can't see that happening. Either way, this set includes a hat, a vest, and you've got some little socks, which are adorable. So it uses a Purl Soho yarn, but obviously you can use whatever yarn you want. The yarn is a light fingering plus a light fingering, so they hold two yarns together. The gauge is 26 stitches and 50 rows, is 4 inches in garter stitch with yarn doubled. So the sizes available are newborn to 3 to 4 years. This little hat was just like the cutest thing, so I really wanted to show it. And I know that a lot of people do knit baby items because, you know, they're easy to gift, they're easy to knit, and I thought that when I saw this, look at those little sock booty things. It's adorable. And the vest is cute too. You could actually take that vest, so it's in garter stitch. You could take that vest and do like some surface embroidery on it. I know that the garter stitch is kind of squishy, but I know that you could definitely embroider on it, and I think that that would be super cute. Or add like a knit or crochet flap. Well, no, not for a baby. Not for a baby. But for an older kid, because the pattern does go up to 3 to 4. So I feel like you could add a crochet flower at around 4, I would say 4 years old. And that would be really cute. I know that my daughter would have really liked it when she was around that age. But it is a free pattern, and if you go to the Ravelry page, right about here, it'll give you a link where you can just click on it and get the free pattern. So, okay, this is another free pattern, and I showed a Barocco pattern last week. And last week when I showed it, I really liked that one. And then I got another email from the Barocco newsletter. So if you guys like patterns and you're not signed up for their newsletter, I would suggest doing it because they've been sending a lot of really cool free patterns. So this is the one that came this week. This is called Perrin, and this is by Amy Christoffers. So I really liked this one. I thought that it looked like a great summer top. And if you can't tell, maybe right there, well, you're going to be able to tell from the pictures I'm putting up. This has got lace in it. So it's knit with the suggested yarn of Barocco Zinnia, which I've never used before. But it says it's a DK weight yarn, and the gauge is 20 stitches and 32 rows is 4 inches in stripe pattern. So it uses between 750 and 1750 yards. And it's 32 3/4 inches to 68 3/4 inches, or 83 centimeters to about 175 centimeters. So this is a free pattern, and it says perfect for everyday wear. Perrin features panels of lace, which give this top a touch of feminine, oh gosh, there's no way. Gives it a touch of I can't say that word. I will put it down below. You can all laugh at me because I can't say it, but I just can't. It's one of those words. It says, we love it paired with jeans or flowy skirts. Stitch pattern includes both charted and written instructions. So I would check that out. This is one of those patterns that I would love to make, and it says it's DK weight yarn. I wonder what kind of DK weight summer yarn I have, because this is definitely a summer top, and it's got those lace panels, and it's all up and down the top. But what I think would be really cool would be to make it in like a black or a white, and then you could wear like a hot pink or like a hot green or like a neon colored tank top underneath, or you could reverse the colors. So you could make it in like hot pink and then like wear a dark black tank top underneath, or you guys get the idea. But this seems like a lot of fun. I really love the way that this top looks. And it's a free pattern, so you could try it out and decide if you like it or not before, and I mean, it's not a big deal either way. So really cool. I love the free patterns that Barocco has been sending. And that's actually it for today, guys. I just had those couple to share with you, so I thought that was those patterns in particular kind of encapsulated the patterns that have spoken to me this week. So that is it for the knitting and crochet and fiber art stuff. I am going to talk about life for 5 minutes because there's not much to say. It has been absolutely beautiful for the Saturday that is today. It is, I don't even know the date, like the 14th-ish, something like that. When did I print these? The 15th-ish, 14th, 15th-ish, somewhere around there. It's the Saturday before the Tuesday that I release this, and my kids are out of school, so they're very happy about that, and we're kind of just gently easing into the summer stuff. I have been reading some crazy books. So last week I talked about how I was reading some Alice Feeney books. I believe that's the name. And I've read some other books since then. Right now I am reading Rock, Paper, Scissors. So there's that, and that's a good book. Yesterday I finished a book, and I can't remember what it's called. Wow. No, not at all. I'll put it down below. like I said, this has been kind of a long week. I have been studying. I took a practice test last night and I got an 85%, and these practice tests are supposed to be harder than the actual tests, so that's good. I'm going to keep doing practice tests and keep studying for a little bit, probably until we're back from our vacation, and then I'll see how I feel about taking my certification test. But I 3-needle bound off 8 of these. Can you guys believe it? That is crazy. And you know what? You do not appreciate, well, I guess you do. You do, but you don't really think about it if you're doing them one at a time and binding off one and then going to the next one and working something and then finishing it. You don't really realize how frustrating and difficult it is to finish items until you do 8 of them back to back to back to back. So I will never do that again. I will work one and then finish it and work another and then finish it because it wasn't very fun. I am not big at finishing and I should have grafted them. And you can tell the 3-needle bind off. It's not something that is seamless like Kitchener would be, but I did not have the heart to Kitchener 8 cowls together. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I still think they're cute. You definitely have the seam line there, but I mean, with the colors changing like they do, the color blocking, I don't think it's that noticeable. What do you guys think? And then inside. And where is it seamed? It seamed over here. So I guess you can tell where the seam is, but I mean, it's not what I would consider bad. Just more like a seam line. So maybe if I do any more, I'll Kitchener one and see the difference and then no, I'm not gonna take them out. I'm not, they're fine that way. Okay, do you guys get like that? I was thinking about this earlier today or yesterday, and I was thinking as I'm 3-needle binding off these cowls that I'm like, okay, if anybody else had done this and I looked at it, I wouldn't even notice the seams. I would be like, those are beautiful, good job, I like them. But because I did them, I notice. Do you guys get like that? I definitely do. So I feel like I'm my own worst critic and I kind of nitpick the stuff that I do because I would never do that to somebody else. So I've been trying lately, at least partially, to give myself some grace and look at stuff in a different light that I've done and think, hey, if somebody else was showing this work to me, what would be my thoughts on it, right? Because sometimes you have to kind of take a step back and treat the work that you've done like somebody else is showing it to you. Because I feel like that's the only way I'm ever going to give myself a little leeway. Because like I said, the cowls are nice and the bind off does show a seam, but that's fine. It looks like a cowl that you would get at the store. Those also have like seam lines. So okay guys, that's all that I have for this week. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If I mentioned your name earlier for the giveaway, reach out to me on either Ravelry or Instagram and let me know what pattern you want. And if you are interested in winning next week's giveaway, just leave a comment down below. Oh, and definitely let me know if you guys are interested in a 500 subscriber giveaway. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.